Hello everyone, the Anthony S. here and alone. I want to talk to you today about something of a lesson that I got probably, I believe it's about 5 or 6 years ago. And I learned it before, but I made a stand on it about 5 or 6 years ago, if I recall correctly on the timeline. It's about the function of whatever happens to you, it's your fault sort of mentality. Now, some won't agree, some will agree. At the time, I agreed with the side that said not everything's your fault. I had a more of a faith in others to be able to believe that something could be their fault if it happened to me. The best example is, say you're driving in a car and your light turns green at a four-way intersection, and you go into the intersection and someone hits you. They went through a red. Now, most people will believe that that is their fault. And by law, it might be. So in terms of who's paying insurance, yes, the payment of the cars to repair things would be their fault. Now, let's add a little more to it. Say you either become enabled or unable, or you pass away due to the accident. It really doesn't matter who's paying for the car to get fixed. You're gone. This is a very intense example, but also a very realistic one. Many people die yearly from car accidents. And the long and the short is, it's your fault. If you're driving and you don't pay enough attention to see that someone's coming through, going in at like 50, 60, trying to make a light, or they aren't paying attention, and you don't take the time to say maybe that person might not stop and try to act accordingly, and you get hurt or you pass away, that's your fault. It doesn't matter what the court says about who's paying what. You had the ability to change your fate. You had an option of being a little more patient and maybe seeing through if that person was going to stop or not. And that happens for everything. Whether you make a mistake and don't pay a credit card bill and you end up getting a fee, it's not the credit card's fault that you got a fee. You're the one that didn't pay the bill. Anything you do, any action you make, the results are yours and yours alone. And this will, I guarantee, at first you'll say that's horrible and that sounds like it wouldn't be right. But the beauty of it is, as soon as you accept that, you then allow yourself to understand that anything in life can be affected by you. Yes, it's your fault, but they're also your successes. So if you think your current situation is out of your control, there is always a way that you can change the current outcome. Now, if it has nothing to do with you and it's way out there and it affects you because someone else made a decision and they want to change their outcome, maybe. There's a few situations out there where it's not like, this isn't black and exactly white, but it's pretty darn close. Most of the things you do affect what happens to you. And I want to go even a little deeper about the mindset you have towards those situations. And I have a quote here from someone that's actually haven't mentioned yet. I'm going to do a call out to my dad here, Tony, a.k.a. the Chief, a.k.a. Dad. His quote is, "Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it." There's many people that have said this over time, and when I was 19 and 20, I thought I was more intelligent than I am today. And these two guidelines of life I'm talking about didn't seem quite right. But the longer I've lived and the more things that I've impacted based on my outlook and my effect proves to me that he's right. And it's even to the point of, if you keep this mindset of it's 10% of what happens to you, so whatever the situation may be, that's just how it is. If you focus 90% on how you react to it in a positive way, if you take the time to be a positive person, whether it's in business where A perfect example is tariffs went up this year, and you have to call back clients and say it's going to cost another $20 million for these parts because we have to get them from somewhere there's tariffs. That's how life is. It's not something that can be. It's not going to be like, oh, I can just demand this and change this. But the reality is, you have the ability to, even though the situation's rough, you have the ability to see the bright side and cause a positive impact. And if you don't choose to be positive, you don't choose to be procreative and try to find a solution, that's your fault. And that's the situation. Be willing to be positive. Take whatever happens to you in life and look at every angle and realize that if you don't do that, if you don't take the patience, try to understand the situation, and act what you believe is correct, it is going to be your fault. There's no one else that can affect what you're going to do. Hope that helps some people. If we need to elaborate a little more on that, or if we need to clear that up, happy to do another one of these. Because this situation, this conversation is extremely important. If you don't understand it, especially people younger than me, if you don't understand this now, please call me or talk to me. This is extremely important, and it will set you back years in your path if you don't listen to me now. This is an absolute. I'm looking forward to the conversations. This is the Anthony S. I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you, Dad, for the education back then so I could learn it now. Talk to you all later.